Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Clean Libertarian Podcast. How you doing out there? Hope you're doing well. Hope this message finds you well. For me, personally, everything's going great, man. Like I told you last week, I knocked out my first step. Now I'm into my second step. Got it done, ready to meet up with the sponsor. You got to strike while the iron's hot, you know what I mean? And so there's a couple things in my life I'm trying to kind of adjust, do a little adjustment. Get around to, and I'm getting to it, man. I'm doing the work, and it feels good. Life's just great, man. I don't know. I got a text from my wife this morning that really inspired me. You know, there's nothing like having support from your family. Nothing like especially having support from your wife, and just, man, I got a good life today, and yeah, every now and then, man, I got to be really grateful for that, and I appreciate the presence of mind where I can acknowledge that. And so anyway, not to get all sappy. Sorry, not trying to do that. Sorry, not sorry. You know, life's good. Anyway, so if you guys remember a while back, I did an episode about crypto, and it was good. It was great. And I just wanted to kind of loop back around to that because I got into it, got back out of it. And my buddy Thom, he has a podcast called Winner Gets Nothing. And he does a segment called Trash Talks, and he had me on talking, and we kind of started talking about crypto a little bit. And so I wanted to get him on to talk about crypto, his understanding of it. Like we both said, this is not financial advice. We are not, hardcore investors or professionals by any means. He has a little bit of a better understanding than I do, and he was kind of able to break it down. And so, this is just pretty much a conversation in between two people talking about crypto. We kind of got off the rails a little bit, started talking about like video games, and then somehow The Sopranos got brought up. But, we looped it all back around. It's a good episode all in all. So without any further ado, here is Thom. All right. And we are going. What's up, Thom?
What's going on, man?
Man, not a whole lot. It's a day off. I told you I was, working on that stuff in the living room. You've been a trooper. Thanks a lot for hanging out and waiting for my lazy ass to get you a link.
I mean, you were holding a rocking chair. It's not that lazy.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing too. It's like, I am so hard-headed. Like, I won't even look at the instructions. So I started putting this damn thing together, right? And then there's an extra piece in the box. And I'm like, I bet that's not a spare. So like I've built the same chair twice, long story short, but we got it done.
It doesn't seem like an easy problem. It seems like some other kind of issue.
I was just like, damn it, dude. I mean, it looked great though. I think my version was better, but to keep the wife happy, we'll
I mean, if it didn't fall down, that's a chair.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if my big ass can get in it and it's okay, I think it's fine. It's past the litmus test right there. But anyway, so Thom, for the audience, you are a co-host of the Winner Gets Nothing podcast. You also have a segment. Is that connected to Winner Gets Nothing, the Trash Talks, or is it?
We released it on the same feed. We just put them out there at the same time because I mean, we're trying to grow. We don't need like 50 different handles. Like, hey, find us over here, here, and here. It's just one location with it all. And it's just that and a Twitch channel, but like a bunch of different little projects underneath it. I mean, right now on the podcast feed, you're just going to find those two, but we've done other things in the past. So
right on, man. I enjoy the Winner Gets Nothing. There's just, you guys cut up, you laugh, you have a good time. It's nice to sit back and listen to.
Yeah.
Especially after like a stressful evening at work, I'll drive home. I got like a 30-minute commute, and it's nice to kick that on. Listen to that.
Yeah, no, it's easy to make because it's it's fun to make. So you just get in there and even like anything, just a project, you just work, you get it all set up. You like work the whole time to get there, the whole time you're stressing about it, and then the second you're into it, it's fine. You just enjoy it. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: like, from the outset, is this the type of podcast that you guys wanted to create, or is this just kind of something you do because you want to do it?
We wanted to create a podcast, and that was pretty much it. Just I loved podcasts. Me and my brother had passed around like a couple of ideas, and then finally I showed one of my friends a podcast he liked, and he just went from there. He was loving it. He listened to like every episode that he could get his hands on in like a matter of weeks, like hundreds of them. And he just binged the whole thing. And then he was like, I want to do something like that. And
right on.
Yeah. And really, we didn't have a goal. It was just coming on and making jokes and stuff and just kind of enjoying it. No real structure. And then the structure just kind of came from having to do a show every week. So having more and more things, we just talking nonsense the first few episodes. And then eventually it kind of, I realized I'm like, I should probably bring some topics, like, so we don't just like
no more shooting from the hip, just at least something of substance. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
like just weird news stories. That's what we kind of went with, because it's just part of the conversation, but it's still always been about the conversation, having fun. But yeah,
right, absolutely, man. And it bleeds through. It's good content. I enjoy listening. And so that's kind of the winner gets nothing. And then the trash talks is kind of like your own little personal podcast that you do with the guest.
What most people think of when they think of a podcast, just two guys talking back and forth about some subject. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good ones on there, especially, shout out to Patrick McFarland, like that dude. I wish he got more of a following than he does. And I think people are picking up on him and Keith, God damn, I can't remember his Twitter handle now, but anyway, and you deserve more followers because you actually do this right. And you have me on Trash Talks, and again, thank you so much for that opportunity. But like, you do things like you had the video clip that you'll put on Twitter, like you do like really high tech shit that I can't comprehend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one's easy. That's an app I use called Headliner. It's you just type in your podcast, and then it finds it like a podcast, like directory, like any other kind of thing. And then you just pick the part you want, and it generates the whole thing itself. Just write out the text or whatever.
Oh shit, this is a life hack now.
Yeah,
now we're there.
I can't believe I didn't tell you about it when you were on. I usually, anytime I have a podcast on, I just give them that one. I'm like, that's really, really simple. Looks clean, nice promotion, Oh,
we're about to upgrade around here, my friend. We're about to upgrade. But anyway, what you do, I enjoy the podcast. I love everything that you do. But when we were talking, you had talked about crypto, and especially like in that episode. And this is something I wanted to kind of loop back to. I did an episode a while back, but I wanted to expand on it. And especially like, because, right now crypto is kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. It's up and down, which I guess is more or less the nature, right?
Oh yeah. It goes up, it goes down. That's what it does. But not as overall unpredictable as you'd think. There's
really?
there's certain things that you can predict, like having events like the big spike that came this year. I knew it was coming. I didn't know exactly when. I didn't know what day, but I knew it was coming because it happens in a repeat cycle. The same thing that happened in 2017. That's when I got in. It's 2017, and I just basically I lost a lot of money right away, and I was like, "How do I get that back?"
It's gone, son of a bitch. It's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, let's start from the baseline, right? Let's start. And when people think of crypto, typically, especially for the uninitiated like myself, we think Bitcoin. So where did this Bitcoin come from? What is it?
All right. So well, I told you this before the show, but I mean, the real short version of it is, you guys remember 2008 and how bad that sucked? Well, it pissed one guy off enough that he went and invented Bitcoin.
God bless him, right?
Or possibly, I mean, nobody really knows where it came from. The guy on the original white paper, they call it, which just it kind of spells out how your cryptocurrency, because there's many more than Bitcoin, how it functions and stuff. It's kind of just like a little presentation on paper, just, hey, here's the aspects of this one. And the guy's name was Satoshi Nakamoto, but it could have been 5 guys. It could have been a alphabet agency. It could have been one guy in his basement who just had a really good idea. No one really knows. It's I mean, when you're completely disrupting like the entire monetary system, possibly, it's probably good to keep your head down.
Yeah. More than likely good to cover your tracks on that one. So like 2008 is when it started up then. more or less?
Oh, 09. They need a little time to get their thoughts together. But during the recession, definitely that followed.
And so like cryptocurrency is exactly that. It's a digital form of currency.
Mm-hmm.
What a revolutionary idea and concept. Like I can understand the overall basis of it, but it's the intricacies that I have a problem like understanding. So Bitcoin was the first one though, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin was the first of its kind, and everything after that, people just call altcoins because like there's the Bitcoin, and everyone knows that. It's like there's kind of nothing like it. I mean, there's other things that might function as well, but the service that offered really has never been replicated in the same like perfect way. So people kind of look to that one as the leader, and everything kind of like stems from it in a way. So it's always going to be out front. Maybe possibly like people talk about a token like Ethereum that shows a lot of promise and has a lot of functionality. I think maybe one day that like, it could be a Facebook to a MySpace kind of situation. It might not be the first one, but or the one that eventually takes it further. But the way I see it, I think it's going to be the main one for a long time, and I don't really know if we'll ever see it switch. I think there's something special about Bitcoin. I mean, people say Bitcoin and crypto like interchangeably. They think of it like the same thing when crypto covers a whole space, but Bitcoin's the guy. You know?
Right. Bitcoin's the Don,
Yeah,
the boss of the family, of the crypto family.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like the birth of a coin. Like, how does that come to be? I mean, so let me give my broad ham-fisted understanding and see if you can't help me correct this a little bit. But there's this thing called the blockchain, which is more or less a collective ledger of the Bitcoins that are in existence or could potentially be in existence. Is that right?
Say that one more time.
So is the blockchain like a ledger, like a financial ledger of the coins that are or could be in existence?
Yes, it's a permanent record of every single transaction that goes on there. And like a lot of people thought Bitcoin was anonymous. It was just unknown really in the beginning. You had an address, and there are ways to deduce who that is. There's also private tokens that try to avoid that, and they've done things to make that not happen. But Bitcoin itself, there's ways you can go about identifying people, and there's actually sites dedicated to finding out who everyone is on the blockchain. So yeah, it's not a spooky internet money that can't be traced. It's definitely traceable, but it's the blockchain itself. It's actually just packets of data that's saved in that ledger. So the blockchain is like the technology itself, but it just saves packets of data. Like that actual technology blockchain can be used in a ton of different things. Like this can be used to track like, a big company's like entire shipping and all that stuff. It's like you said, a permanent ledger, and those digital records are really nice. It could make transactions faster overall for everything. Like you could say your flight gets canceled, right? Instead of having to go through all these people and just all these calls to get your money back, it can just, because it's all permanently on the record, they can set it to do certain things in those contracts, and you'll get your money back instantly. So yeah, the niceness of digital money,
Damn, that's so okay. Like I've seen it on Minds. There's a couple other sites that I went to, I dabbled with a little bit, but they talk about like this is on the blockchain. So that's what they're talking about. It's like that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the permanent record style. Like, yeah, so I guess everything on minds.com, if they're claiming to be a site that uses blockchain, I'm assuming that social media has like a permanent record somewhere.
I'll be damned. Okay, so, and now I think you're starting to understand the depths of how much I'm a Neanderthal when it comes to crypto, because I have these kind of questions. Like,
I really want to put out there, I'm like 10% ahead of you. I really I don't know if in the beginning of this, I sounded like I'm presenting myself as an expert. I want to talk about right here. I'm just a guy who's been playing around with it for 5 years and have picked up some buzzwords along the way. Like I'm not an expert by any means. Like how do you make a blockchain? Like, I don't know any of the computer stuff. I take a lot of this for granted.
Right on. Well,
Yeah.
in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So you're rocking it on this podcast right now. So you're just gonna have to accept that title of master of knowledge when it comes to crypto for the time being.
I
But
appreciate
so like here's and kind of where I'm at and why this ties into because like in recovery in the rooms we deal a lot with personal responsibility. Once you've been clean or sober for a little while, then you start looking at your bank account, you start looking at other things. Are you providing or planning for your future? And crypto seems to be something that no matter how far down the dip goes and everybody's like freaking out, it always comes back. And
Mm.
so but like you said, with all the different coins, like how does somebody know what to invest in? Like, and what are the purposes for this currency?
Well, another thing I should have said somewhere in the beginning is I'm also not a financial advisor, and I don't think you are either. So
No,
yeah,
no.
this advice, this is just actually the number one thing you got to keep in mind because really anything could happen. I mean, they could go, I doubt it, because like you got to get rid of the internet to really kill this stuff. Like there's always going to be like it would just switch over to like maybe private coins would get more popular or something if they were really trying to regulate heavy on this stuff. But
Right.
really when you see them doing regulation right now, they're kind of doing regulations to like bring this into the environment. They I think they realize this is like an unstoppable force to an extent. So I think I trailed off a little. You were saying how do you know like what to invest in or
Right.
whatever. Yeah, so I'm saying there's risks. That's where I was leading to. There's risks. Be prepared to lose everything. So just keep that in mind.
Oh,
I don't think you will, though. I think this thing's going to go good places, personally.
Okay.
So what I invest in personally, I mean, Bitcoin. That what? Like I said, we called it the dawn before. Yeah, it's a good one. It's one that's going to stick around. Ethereum, that's another big name. That's probably those two. I bet my whatever. I think they're sticking around. But really, other than that, I mean, you need to look into the projects yourself and kind of figure out what makes sense to you, what you think could be around. Because, I mean, back in 2017 when this thing popped off, everyone and their mother released a cryptocurrency, and like 80% of it was just scams going nowhere.
Right.
So like, there's a lot of crap out there, and yeah, I mean, it does take a little bit of research, but I'd say you're safe playing with those big two. And I mean, if you look at the prices of everything, they tend to be valued pretty highly. Like they but as for knowing when and where to invest, really the best performing like portfolios and stuff is don't try to time it. Don't try to figure it out. Go to your favorite YouTuber and he's like, oh, I know exactly when to do this. And you can do it if you really want to get into it. Some people look at these charts all day, watch the up and downs, and you can make money like that. But if you not everybody wants to do that. I think the thought of doing that is a barrier to entry to a lot of people. Like that just sounds like too much work.
Right.
Really, the best performing like portfolios tend to be just put a little bit in, whatever you're comfortable with. Say it's the 1st and 15th. Say it's every Friday. Just $5, $10, something small, whatever you're comfortable with. And yeah, just start making a little thing like that because you'll buy it at its lows. You lose a little more on the highs, but it kind of tends to perform the best because you're just basically taking the average,
Right.
So it's a cheap trick to just do okay. I personally also just look for very obvious big dips. If it's gone down quite a bit, well, throw some money in. It's probably coming back.
Yeah. 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 If history has taught us anything with it, it's that it does come roaring back, time and time again. Here's where I fucked up because like I didn't know anything. I just, kind of followed the Reddit memes, especially when Dogecoin was starting to get a lot of attention. It was like a tenth of a penny, and worth in value. I bought like 3,000 of those coins at that point, and then it skyrocketed to 7 cents, and I like panic sold. I'm like, oh, let's make some money. Let me turn this into fiat. And if I would have just stayed put, like it got up to like 30 cents, I think. I could have made thousands on that deal.
You know, and I've told you about these ones before. I'm a little negative on those. Sometimes I go a little too hard. I actually, in a group chat that we were in, somebody was talking about sheep. I didn't read back like 3 things to where he's like, I'm invested in sheep. And I was just like, crap, get rid of it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, hi, you're invested in it. Well, and it explained a little more to me. That one might be different, but the Doge one I've told you about, that one is almost entirely based on hype because it's intentionally like deflationary. They're constantly printing it. That's one of the values of Bitcoin is there's an eventual number that will be printed and then that's it. That's it. And that, I mean, as we know with our dollar getting printed in infinite amounts, it's starting to lose its value. And it's the same principle here, except Bitcoin's already claimed when the game's over, the game's over. So invest now, because that sounds like a much more stable currency than something that can just infinitely print itself.
So there is a finite amount of Bitcoin that can be printed. Like it will stop.
Yeah, I think they project it to be like 2144 or something. I might be off on that number, but it's like 100 years out. Like it's a ways away. And that's just based on computer processing, because how they mine for this stuff, they call it, they got it's basically just computers or mostly video cards. Like they use that. And I'm probably not explaining this perfect. Yet again, I'm not even a computer. I couldn't even build my own computer. Okay,
bro, I'm nodding my head like, yeah, no, this is all adding up. Yep, math checks out.
For the crypto expert out there who's just pounding his fist on the table. Idiot.
You'll be call your sponsor. You'll be okay, sir.
Oh man, but so they run it on video cards, and they're basically just running algorithms, or not algorithms, equations, increasingly difficult math problems that's making it, the computer work at its like full capacity. And so basically there's kind of like a timed out way on how far it on how fast they can solve those equations. And then it's also based off of, projections of computer equipment getting better. I think they call that Moore's law, where there's like some predictability to that. Like it's like a double or something, which I hear they're getting. Side note, just I saw something. I don't know if it's true. They were like, yeah, it's getting too small. We're running out of doubling room. Like these chips are just, we're getting down the atom here. Like, you can. Yeah, so I don't know when that comes or what that even means.
I don't know. Sounds serious though. Like sounds an alarm. So let me ask you this too. So like, what we saw, especially over the last year, was a lot of pushback against Bitcoin. And you even saw Elon Musk fold, not accepting Bitcoin for Tesla. There's a lot of talk about all the computer processing power needed to mine these coins is causing global warming, blah, blah. Is there any validity to that? Or is that just kind of a, more games?
I mean, like anything else, using electricity, you're going to have some kind of environmental impact. I mean, it's using electricity. The portion of it compared to other things that we're doing to like pollute the environment. I mean, I guess it's just one more thing is how they look at it, but I can't really speak to what the percentage is, but from just going through my vague memory, I think I remember hearing it's not like a particularly significant portion of pollution,
So it's negligible probably in the long run.
Yeah, I guess people don't like the idea of us running this like energy, possibly non-efficient process for, because I mean, essentially what you're just doing is you're making a computer I know it's mining and it's like producing the amount, but you're just making a computer run for no reason is what a lot of people think. Like you're like, yeah, we're guaranteeing we're going to leave all these computers on for like 100 years, like whatever percentage that affects.
Right.
And other coins that presented themselves, like I think Cardano is the one. I'm not sure. Again, I'm very loose with my information here, but I know one of them is focused on being like the clean version of Bitcoin, which I don't even know how they go about that.
Yeah, that sounds wild. Like they got it. What are they using? Pen and paper instead, I guess? Well, I guess you're cutting down trees at that point. So it's like, what the fuck?
1,000 phones ringing next to them. You made a payment.
Oh shit. The blockchain is just some dude named Al in a warehouse with a shitload of landlines around him. Oh, poor Al. That poor son of a bitch. I did want to ask you about this. So I know there's Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin Cash? Can you explain that?
Bitcoin Cash. bunch of assholes, if you ask me.
Is it?
Can I cuss on here? I'm sorry.
I've been cussing the whole time. You're good.
I don't even notice back and forth. I just do it so naturally. I forget. I can't do it in every environment. Okay. Well, so yeah, the Bitcoin Cash, what happened is that's called a fork. That's a direct offshoot of Bitcoin, but it preserved the ledger prior to the forking. So like a fork in the road. They took all the previous transaction, that's all logged, and then this is a separate currency that's like when you buy into it, the amount changes differently. Like you're not buying Bitcoin anymore. It's not affecting the price of Bitcoin. It does somewhat track with Bitcoin because all the coins do, but it's a side thing that essentially at any point you can make a fork of Bitcoin. Like if enough people get together and they're just like, we don't like what you're doing. We're running the blockchain over here. And then I don't know, they do the computer genius boy stuff and they got a whole new cryptocurrency. Why I don't like that one. Maybe they had a valid argument. I think Sal the Agorist was talking about it, and I think he thought it was better for some reason. Maybe go ask him. Actually, that's a great crypto guy.
Sal.
Yeah, I just don't like them because whatever valid reason they thought they had, they took the Bitcoin.com and they made it confusing. They made it confusing for people, and even though these rises, like the 2017 rise, kind of started the eventual crash, which I don't know how high it would have gone because it's still based a lot off hype when it's spiking like that. It's based off FOMO and fear of missing out, people not wanting to miss the boat. So when those huge spikes happen, they tend to trend. But it really seemed to just be the top of it when somebody was like Bitcoin Cash. It's the real big, especially like the main site for Bitcoin, Bitcoin.com was like Bitcoin Cash now. That just became confusing and it was bound to happen anyway because it was at a huge all-time high, but I think that was really like the nail in the coffin that just said this is the end of this bull run. It's done now. We're in the bear market now. It's the winter.
So they can do that at any time. Then you look at I don't know if it's
no, it's not any time. It's not any time. With Doge, it's based on hype and it's any time. It's just enough that huge spike that happened. That was just people getting together and like really just like energizing this coin. That can happen at any time. And actually, technically, it could happen at any time, but it's a little more predictable than that because why it spiked at that point is this event called the halving. And this is when I was talking about when to invest. This is something I should have definitely mentioned. There's this predictable event called the halving, and what it is basically the reward for doing those equations and stuff, the amount of problems you have to solve to get there. Whenever you do that, you get a set amount. It started at 50 Bitcoins, right? You would get that every time it ran whatever process on the blockchain. Now, or after the first one, it went down to 25 coins, then 12 and a half and so forth. Right now, it's either at 6 or no, it's 6.5 or whatever it would be. I don't know. But the point is the amount keeps getting smaller and smaller, and it's going to do this over the time. Like actually 80% of all Bitcoins have already been mined. And it's still going to go that next 100 years because it's a constant halving and it just takes quite a long time to get there. Like you're moving towards sub-zero, it just like kind of like levels out, but almost never gets there. This one will get there, but it's going to take a damn long time.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just because 80 of them are mine doesn't mean that it's not eventually going to get like separated out. There's so much more money that can flow into like the price of just one Bitcoin itself. Like the money coming in really doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just a lot of people might have an opportunity to be holding a large chunk of the change. I think like they keep changing the regulations, but I know China actually does own like a significant amount of this. And it
seems like they banned Bitcoin like every 6 months or so.
Yeah, but they got so much of it. So what's going on?
I don't know. I heard for a while like you could buy it if you lived there, but you couldn't sell it. Like that was the thing. Is that true?
That's one way to get more crypto.
Because
people want to invest. Can't get rid of it.
Government mandate to hold.
Oh, maybe. I don't know what they're up to. But yeah, it's so those points I was talking about, those halvings. The easy way to explain to put it in like simpler terms other than just the number going down. Just picture what would happen to the price of milk if all of a sudden they were only producing half as much milk. Like they're just, I don't know, all the cows disappeared. There's less cows now. Deal with it. The shelf, your local grocery store has half as much milk. Well, the price is probably going to double, right? Because that's the demand. It's the supply and demand. So those halving events being predictable, it's usually like takes a little while for it to kick in, and it's a slow spike and then a huge spike. It's usually like, I think like 11 months out in the past on average. So something like that. So look for the day that they say the Bitcoin halving went down. And I guarantee within like a year's time, you will have more money than was in there before. I don't know how much more, but probably quite a bit more.
Damn.
Yeah. So it comes, it seems like it's just about every 4 years. I'm not sure because it's timed out on however many, like a certain number of blocks. I think it's 210,000 because I think the ending total of them is like 21 million Bitcoins or something. My numbers might be all wrong. I'm sorry. There's a lot of them, but it's however many blocks there are. Once those get mined, they it's the halving happens, and the price spikes. So
I'll be damned.
Yeah, so that's not like just complete. It's not complete magic. Like what it does tend to do is it has little spikes, but it kind of tends to die off up until that event. Not losing all of it though, because like a lot of people like to say it's like down, but I think like right before the 2017 spike, it was worth like $1,000, spiked 20, retained 3. You still 3 times your profit if you got in there, if you waited the whole time, and you can sell off at any point. If you sold at peak, you got $20,000 off 1,000.
Yeah, it's a hell of a deal right there too. I mean, that's a good investment any way you slice it.
And I mean, there's smarter guys than me that like think they know a little bit more about the time. Basically, maybe a good idea would be going and finding the guy who says it's going to go up, the guy with the highest prediction and the guy with the lowest prediction. Maybe pull out when it's somewhere in between those two.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit and go into another, because there seems to be 2 main ones that are dominating the market, or that are on the lips of a lot of people when they talk about crypto. Is obviously Bitcoin and then Ethereum. Ethereum seems to be the other one that leads the charge. A lot of people talk about it. What's the difference in between the two, and what makes Ethereum what it is? If you don't know, I mean, I'm not trying to hit you with stuff that
no. I know a little bit about it. I thought of something funny about the origins of Ethereum. I might bring this up. I think I have it's like saved in a group chat, but it was started for a really funny reason.
What's that?
Let me answer your question first. It was
okay.
Between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it's the OG. Ethereum is I believe it's like functionality is that it has the built-in smart contracts, right? So that's like with that blockchain technology I was talking about, where like they could pre-approve these things. Like Bitcoin doesn't have that built into its infrastructure. Ether has like things. So like when A happens, B gets paid out, or vice versa. Or I don't know. It just, you can build in like these little contracts of like I said before, like your flight got canceled, send money back, So
shit. Okay.
And meanwhile, that's all pencil pushes right now. Just like dudes on phones, people on computers typing back and forth, and like all these other things like that. It's processed through. It's got a lot of human power. These smart contracts, they're taking the human power out of it. They just do it. It's like, well, the flight didn't go. Okay, bazing.
See, and that's way better, man. Like, especially, let's say you order something on Amazon, you never get the package delivered. Like, bam, you don't ever have that hit your account. You don't have to wait for the refund for 4 or 5 days, whatever.
Exactly.
It's like,
or they don't even take it out of your account until it says delivered. So it's at your door before you even lose the money. Yeah. That way. I don't know. But
so that's is there a finite amount of Ethereum as well?
I believe so. I'm not really as familiar with that one.
Okay.
I think there might be. I can't say for sure. I don't know if there's a finite amount. I would think so, because I don't hear it get all those complaints of it being a deflationary currency. So I would assume there's probably some hard cap on that. But there is like an unlimited number of like Ethereum side projects. Like that's kind of what Ethereum set itself up to be. It's like, hey, go make your own fork. Like go make your Southwest Airlines fork or whatever thing and make those flight things happen. Like people use it for like, online collectibles and stuff. Like there's a bunch of different exchanges, or NFTs are hugely popular on that. We can get into those a little later if you want.
Yeah, dude, because I don't understand that shit at all. Like I want to, do you understand NFTs? At least a baseline understanding.
Probably your misunderstanding comes from feeling it feels like the Emperor's New Clothes, like you're buying nothing.
Yes.
It's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, because, okay, so like when I see it'll roll across my timeline on Twitter, like, hey, this is an NFT for sale. I'm like, dude, I can just fucking screenshot it. Like, I own that now, right? Like,
you can screenshot the Mona Lisa. Do you own it? And then it's the finite amount of it, because non-fungible means non-reproducible, right? So even though you can have those digital pixels, which some of the art, like some of it, I guess, doesn't make sense to me. Like some of the ones that are just like pre-generated, like I know there was a scam recently, something apes or something. They just took the money and ran. Like it was like trading cards that were just like a bunch of different apes. Some of it looks like the worst art ever, and it's really just like stupid stuff. But then some of it, like that guy Beeple who sold his, like, I mean, you technically, like, you could own a Banksy, you know, like, and while it still seems digital, I mean, some guy bought a Banksy that shredded itself. Like he doesn't have a painting either anymore.
Yeah. I remember that one now too. Yeah. Like that was fucking dope. Like, but that was I don't know. I guess where my misunderstanding comes from is it's like NFTs are digital, right? Like it's on the internet. So like when you buy an NFT, is it the blockchain? The fact that, hey, I paid $69 million for this picture of Pikachu, you know?
Well, with the pictures ones, I think is what people get hung up on. And the thing is, it sounds stupid to me, so I don't invest in those. But the ones that make more sense to me is when you picture like, you know, like in-game skins.
Yes.
Okay, well, that has already shown its value. Like there's ships in Eve that are like just sought after. There's limited, like it's just the limitedness of it is what gives it its value, right? So the scarcity.
Okay.
So, like, people are like, I'm one of 5 guys with this red hat in this game. People know me. I have a status symbol in this game. That's where it makes more sense to me, because I mean, we are moving into a digital world, so you might as well have your digital swag. But yeah, I don't get the little just JPEGs. I don't know. Some people love them. Good for you.
Good for you. And you know, who am I to tell you how you should or should not spend your money? But what you just described makes more sense to me, especially with, and I suspect that we are heading towards kind of a Ready Player One type of future where we're just going to be living in fucking trailer house condominiums, you know, and, you know, escaping to a digital world. But
how are you going to feel when you show up without a red hat? Everyone's going to be
shit, man. Like,
just gotta get a red hat ahead of time, man.
Yeah. So that's the NFT. Now I've also heard of like bands releasing an entire album as an NFT.
Yeah, I could see how that could be done. I guess you have the digital rights to that album, and I mean that's cool to say if it's really your favorite band. Like,
yeah.
And I've heard of that before too, and the band still has the right to like publish it and stuff. It's really just like, I guess it's like the difference between it's like a certification. You're like, yeah, I'm the guy who owns that album. I don't know what rich people do with their time. Maybe they love that. Maybe they love bragging that they own an album by their favorite band, and they get status from that, from whatever it is. Like I said, it is a little bit of the Emperor's New Clothes situation. You're like, you're not wearing anything, and at any point, I feel like this could crumble, and people could all just point out how stupid it is, but maybe not, because it seems like there's enough people who do like it and think
yeah. And I don't know, like half of me thinks it's like the new digital pet rock, you know, while on the other hand, you know, some people really seem to be into it. I mean, there's a whole fucking economy built off these NFTs now, you know, especially looking back and seeing what they've got going on. I mean, goddamn, there's whole websites. It's like eBay for NFTs, you know.
Also, another thing that screams to me is just like money laundering. Like, oh
yes, yes.
Little monkey.
I think it was who was it? It was Tim Dillon was talking about Lindsay Lohan created an NFT and sold it for like 500,000. He's like, this is a tax scam. This is a tax scam right here. And it's like, you know, it could be, I don't know. I'm not gonna butcher his jokes, dude. Tim Dillon's the man. I love his shit. But every
episode.
Dude, I love that. That's one of the ones that I don't miss ever. Try to get him on the show. And he said he was going to ban me if I kept trying. So I had to stop.
Oh, that feels like him, though. Come on, that's great.
Yeah, that's 100% his speed, too. It was like the best day of my life. Just the fact that he retweeted me and said, I'm going to block you. Yes. So notice me.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's worth just as much, honestly. I mean, no, it'd be a huge get to get Tim Dillon on your freaking show. But yeah, that's still worth, it was worth the interaction.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, wouldn't change a thing. So looping back, do you own any NFTs, or have you created any?
No, I haven't done that. I've actually, one thing I've thought about is doing it with the show, because yet again, it's just a fun thing. Releasing the episodes as NFTs. You own the digital rights to your favorite episode or whatever, and it's like, if you want to do it, I mean, it could be worth like $10, and then I don't know, maybe the show gets hugely popular. I get Tim Dillon on, and all of a sudden that $10 turned into, you can sell it for 100. I don't know.
That's legit though, man. Like that would be kind of cool. At least to have. I mean, I'd buy my own episode if it was an NFT.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of podcasters, or not a lot of podcasters, actually, a very small number of podcasters who do sell like some of their best clips as like, you own that. And then, I mean, actually, some of the NFTs are really cool with the, I get like the basketball ones they have now. Those are like a little piece of art, but like, instead of say like, cause people already have the value in like, oh, I got like the Michael Jordan card from this such and such thing. Instead, why don't you own like a short clip of Michael Jordan doing a dunk or something, right? And you own that famous like game winning freaking play or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those being done.
Yeah.
And
I just basically, where it makes sense to me, I'm just like, will somebody buy this? Yes. Well, then I guess it's worth investing,
I mean, yeah, might as well,
Yeah.
Shit. Who knows, man? Get off my lawn, I'm just an old man screaming at the clouds with some of this shit. But I guess thanks for explaining it a little bit better to me. Yeah, especially the Mona Lisa comparison, because I really do. Like, I'll see that shit roll across the timeline. I'm like, I can just screenshot the same thing, but I guess it's not,
It's what it means to them, I guess, because it's just some symbolic ownership, I guess, and it's permanently recorded. Everybody knows who symbolically owns whatever that is.
Right. Yeah, that's on the books, on the ledger.
Yeah. So I mean, that's important to some people. I mean, I won't lie. Like, there's some games, like I can see it as it gets into more and more games, like just playing and unlocking something. Like, sometimes you just get lucky on a loot box or something. I'd be like, oh, damn, I'm going straight to the exchange because I don't care about this at all, but I know what it's worth. And you can just have fun with that,
Let me kind of go off on a tangent here. So, like you said, you got Twitch. I guess you play video games and stuff. Do you play on console at all?
Yeah, I'm a console guy. Like I said, it's I just don't I don't have the effort to build a computer. I guess you can get a pre-built or whatever. I don't know where I'd put one right now. I have a laptop.
Bro, I see people talking about the thousands and thousands of dollars they put in their computer. I'm like, that's cool. My dog can piss on that in a second and destroy it forever. Not going to happen. The PlayStation, they know to leave alone, but I could see myself dropping that kind of money on something like that and then just something awful happening. But I asked you about the console thing. What's going on with the PS5? What is up with this, man? I'm a PlayStation guy. I like PlayStation. I looked into getting one, and they're still not available.
You've recognized. I see you bringing it up in this conversation, so you've recognized this is a crypto related issue.
I think it is. Like, that's just
they that's it. This video card market's screwed up, so they got to do what they can to get video cards at the right price, to sell it at the right price, and these video cards, and also it's not just video cards. Like, everything's price is skyrocketing right now because the supply line's just so messed up from the past 2 years. Like, there's shipping issues on top of the fact that, yes, there's a huge new demand from crypto miners that came in. I guess it really gained popularity this console generation. It wasn't as big back when the last ones came out. It was happening, but back then you could mine Bitcoin in your own house. Nowadays, I mean, you got to have like a setup. Like, these are like factory places where there's just a ton of these running.
Yeah, I've seen, and it's like legitimate warehouses that are nothing but walls of freaking computers, and gigantic fans trying to keep them cooled down.
And these people like move tactically too. Like, they set up like near Niagara Falls. There was a lot of crypto miners in it, because the cheap electricity from the falls, and they know where to maximize, where to go. Like, they're operating like a business, and what they need is to turn cheap electricity into money. And
right.
that raised the prices in that town quite a bit, and they got real mad because they've
I
had.
bet they did.
You had it too good for too long, Niagara Falls people.
Oh shit, man. But no, yeah, I guess, you know. So on one hand, I'm like, man, this cryptid thing's really cool. On the other hand, I'm like kind of bitter because like the only PlayStation I could find, because I don't play a lot of video games, but I do like to kind of unwind. You know, there's a couple of titles I like. I'm tell you, I am at the age now that I no longer want to play multiplayer because there's just getting your ass kicked by a 13-year-old kid. It just hits different nowadays, man. You know what I mean? It's not fun.
Sometimes I play games like they they set up like a couple games that are still connected to Facebook. Like I'm talking like really like crappy like phone games, like I don't know, mom
like Farmville.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that. And there's like two of those that I'll go on and just dominate people just to get a kick out of it. Like just be number one on the leaderboard, just show up one day and just like make the score like thousands of points higher. It takes me like 2 hours because nobody's really playing, but I guess I'm getting at that I waste time. Yeah, but
right on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel. I'm just, maybe you could go do that. There's a really easy level to entry to dominate in the sport. You gotta just find your new lane is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, no, some of those kids are crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, what gets me is like, okay, I'm a huge Star Wars guy. That's my shit. I love Star Wars. And the Battlefront 2 game came out. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous game. I mean, front to back, amazing title. Dude, I suck at that game so fucking bad. And I hate it. I hated it, you know? I hated it because of that. You know, yeah.
No, I feel you. I don't know. I'm not that great at that one either. Yeah, you know what it is? It's like a lot of those popular ones, because I mean, essentially Battlefront is somewhat of like an offshoot of the Battlefield series. It like plays like that.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's the same engine. It runs, except personally, I think the Star Wars one, like you were saying, it looks beautiful. Their aesthetic is just so much better on that engine. That like dingy war environment does no justice to how beautiful they can make like the gleaming white stormtrooper suits and stuff. It looks so good. But yeah, it's like those, you know what? There's a high, like I said, you know what? Maybe change the medium, find a different game, because I'm not winning that fight either. Like I'm getting my ass handed to me too. Yeah.
Shit, man. We're just a couple old. You're like slightly less old than me. I feel like this is a geezer episode now. I need to kind of get back on track with the crypto thing, but not trying to lift the veil up and show everybody my frustrations with gaming consoles because I'm getting old, because that's what it is. And here's the thing, like I've pushed my daughter, so that's the other thing too. Like, you know, when you have a kid, it's like, oh shit, you know, I can get them hyped into what I'm hyped into. And I got her a Switch. I've tried to put her on place. She doesn't like any of it.
Yeah, they're gonna like what they like, you know.
Yeah, dude. It makes me upset though. You know, I'm kind of like a little bit bitter with her. A little bit frustrated, man. Like, come on.
You know how much fun we could be having, and you just refuse.
Forcing her to watch, you know, A New Hope for the 20th time, you know, this year. She's just like, God damn it, Dad. I don't want to watch this shit anymore. I don't like this. Like, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody likes, I liked Star Wars when I was younger. I quit on it though. Like I don't know. I play the game still, like somewhat. Like it's kind of unfair. I always say, like, I'm like, dude, like Knights of the Old, like the movies almost have nothing on like the story of Knights of the Old Republic. And then I'm like, that's kind of unfair when you have like a freaking 90-hour game versus like the movie. Like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have some better memories with that in the long term. Yeah, but it's I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know why. As I get older, I'm like getting I like things more grounded in reality. Like the closer to it actually probably being true, the more invested I get in it. I like really dry, boring television.
I have gotten to the point to where really the only TV I'll watch is like reruns of shit that I used to like. And so it's like, I think I'm by design making myself into that old, you know, crotchety, angry guy. And I need to get away from that probably a little bit, but for real, man, I'll get it. Like I just finished watching The Sopranos again because of what was that? Mini Saints of Newark that came out on HBO Max. Have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard I heard it explained like this. They said it's like it's kind of slow. It's all right, but it has a great ending. I'm like, which was the opposite of The Sopranos. I see what they went for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, long great show with an abrupt kind of upsetting ending.
Yeah, dude.
But, yeah, I actually enjoyed the ending of The Sopranos. Take that.
It's once you kind of like look at it objectively, I think it's, it's understandable. It's a suitable end, but there was just so much going on, like so much going on, which I guess it's always the case, but
yeah,
and then just black
they were all
screen.
about that. Like, what do you want? You want Tony dead? That's your other option. It says, well, now Tony's alive. Oh, maybe. Actually, I don't even know. It leaves it a little open. Could have been anything. Could have been anything.
Yeah. Anything at all, man.
But I think that's kind of what it was. It was just, that's what the whole show was. Anything could change at any minute. You live in this life. It's over in an instant, or maybe it's not, and maybe just enjoy the minute you got here.
Yeah.
And other stuff. I mean, it's definitely some other themes than just enjoying life. I don't know if that's 100% what The Sopranos was about.
No, not at all. Well, maybe for Tony, but not for anybody around him. That was kind of
he was enjoying life.
Jesus Christ, man. Oh, all right. So we've gone off the rails officially. We started on crypto. Now we're on the Sopranos. Let's get back into crypto for just a minute before we wrap up here. But so Bitcoin, Ethereum, is there any other coins that you think are worth noticing right now? Like paying attention to? What do you have your eyes on? Let's say that.
I'm kind of diversified, and that's kind of the best advice I could give, because a lot of people like this. You can go out, you can find the people who are passionate about their project, their coin. This is why it's great. I look at performance and I'm like, hey, a lot of people seem interested in this one. And I also somewhat look for like legitimacy in a small sense, which if you go out there and do your research, really like legitimacy is the thing you want to get ahead of. That's where you get rich. Like if before anyone knows about that coin, you go out there, do your research, and you find this coin's got it all, and here's why. And if you really are able to know that, then you can take some serious rides. Like one thing I've been looking into, because they're still all pretty cheap. They have like exchange tokens and like these DeFi tokens or whatever, which they're basically like trying to work, like some of them are working to be like exchanges for other coins, like turn this coin into this coin, and offering like the ability to do that. Because with so many things in the environment, you're going to be able to need to do those transactions like flawlessly. So some coins are they're trying to explain this poorly. I know I just barely have a grasp of this information, but those ones seems interesting because I mean, essentially that's a useful business that's going to be in this field. Like that's a useful thing to be able to be an exchange of these currencies. So they have their own tokens on a lot of these exchanges. And I think those are interesting right now. And a lot of them are like $20 or something. Those could easily be worth a few hundred in a few years. Like at the next halving, in the next boom, everything's going to be going up in price. It all follows Bitcoin. So when I say legitimacy, I was talking about like when they get listed on an exchange, like a big one, like Coinbase or something. One of the ones that people know, the popular exchange apps, or even sometimes like Robinhood. Like Robinhood only has a few. That's a pretty big legitimacy point when like, if there's 2,000 cryptos and they only have 3, well, you probably know they trust those 3, So, right. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing to look for. I mean, and an easy way to avoid a scam. I mean, you could be getting rich if it really is the next big thing, but just waiting around until, a group consensus comes around that this is a good thing. I mean, at that point, then, yeah, you might as well invest because I think this is going to be the best performing asset of the next 25 years.
Well, and your strategy that you talked about, putting $5 in, $10 in, like that is very risk-free. I mean, that's pocket change, man. You're throwing into these things. You're not talking about diversify, taking your whole 401k, cashing out and throwing it all into one coin. That is more approachable and something like for me, like, because it's going to go up, it's going to go down, but early on enough. I mean, and especially if Bitcoin does what they say it's going to do, I mean, you're talking about turning pocket change into something that's like really good for you, like that could work out for you in the long run.
Yeah. Like they I've seen a meme going around that said, like, oh, it's only used by criminals. Oh, it's only used by internet nerds. Oh, it's only used by small like exchanges. Oh, it's only used by small countries. Like, I don't even know what was in between there. But yeah, I mean, like El Salvador and Brazil's considering it now, are thinking of moving their currencies to or integrating this into their currencies. I think El Salvador might have gone all the way to make it their national currency, but they're at least working towards it. I think that might be their end goal. But I mean, this could create, global dollar. This because it's a lot more. I mean, think about this. Okay, if every country accepts your currency, well, you're not just rich in U.S. dollars and have to worry about like, oh, I want to move to this country. You got your Bitcoin. You go over there. You don't have to transfer all your money and stuff. Your Bitcoin's worth what it was over here. And if they accept it, I mean, I think it moves us towards a much more open world, and a lot less control from big gov. That I mean, you start making your place suck. People are going to migrate if we're all using the same currency.
Right, and you can't that like GDP would kind of go out the window, wouldn't it? Like if it was a one world currency, like you wouldn't even have that be. This is the other thing. So like, not only am I an idiot when it comes to technology, I'm also an idiot on economics.
Gotta stop beating yourself up, buddy.
Dude, I just don't. I have like the most basic understanding of this stuff, but like,
I'm pretty basic too. Like I said, I've just done it for 5 years and just kind of like I said, I lost the money in the beginning and I just tried to work my way through figuring it back. I listen to like one podcast occasionally. And then when it's booming, I tend to read articles. And then that's like, it doesn't take too long to grasp this stuff. I believe you could do it. You gotta put a little bit of effort into it, Yeah,
I'm gonna probably start dipping back in. Probably go with Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm not gonna play that Dogecoin or any of those other shit coins again. I don't think. It's just
you can make the money, but it's like the analogy I gave you before was it's like, especially when Dogecoin was booming, like I had several friends that made a lot of money as I was railing against it. And I'm just like, it's like talking to a guy who just hit the jackpot on a slot machine and thinks this is his new business plan. He's just going to keep sticking money in the slot. Yeah. Like, yeah, I get it. It worked. Just do it again. Just whatever.
Right.
And sometimes they do it twice. And I'd be like, okay, see if it works forever.
I mean, dude, there's just no way, like if I could just do the $5 to $10 thing, like you talked about, like that is approachable. That is something I could comprehend, and that's safe enough to where I'm good with it. I mean, here's the thing, man. I'm 36. I've been working adult jobs for a while. I just recently got a flex spending account. Like I just got so far out of my comfort level that I got one of those things. So like there is certain adult aspects of my life that I'm just now starting to kind of like put two and two together on. Oh, this is a beneficial thing. And investing is kind of one of those areas that I have not so much neglected. I got a 401k going and all of that, but I don't like that there is some area for improvement, and maybe I could be doing a little bit more. And crypto absolutely seems to be one of those things that could be. And I'm going to be real honest, man. Kind of what hinted me at this. So like I go to a lot of 12-step meetings, right? Mm-hmm. And at every one of those meetings, they pass a basket and they collect what's called the 7th tradition. And it's just a couple bucks in the basket to keep the lights on, buy the coffee, blah, blah, blah. I never have fucking folding money. Never, ever have folding money. I have a credit card or a debit card, but I was thinking like, how cool would it be if we could like use crypto in a meeting? And that's just me being,
it would, yeah. It like in the short term, it seems like it's more difficult because, people are like, because, there's just like kind of like a generation barrier. Like one of the things you were saying, like you're just getting into it now. I got really lucky for when I started investing. Like when I was 22 or 3 or something, and this wasn't crypto. This was just, like stocks and stuff. But they came out with like that, like Acorns and Robinhood and all these things like around that time. And I basically was making a lot of money and had a lot of extra time at that point in time. I was, I had a job where I was sitting down with a lot of time to play on your phone, kind of. And like all right, I'm bored. How do I plan for a future or something? They just left me alone long enough to think about that. And I was just like, I had more money than I knew what to do with. And I was like, well, I'm not going to have this job forever because of the nature of it. So let's try to figure out where to put this. And yeah, they with all these apps and stuff and everything going electronic, it's just making things so much easier. And I think once the generations move to like where it is that much easier, we are going to see things like that with people trading Bitcoin and stuff and doing things more digitally because, like you said, you don't have cash. About like half of people operate in that world still, but as it moves more towards like a digital generation, like yeah, like we're going to notice it's much easier. Yeah. Oh, here, scan this QR code on my phone. Okay, tap tap tap, $50, boom. Like,
Yeah.
like Cash App and all that. It's just everything. It's making things much easier and accessible. And I think that's why I believe in this stuff. I just seems like it's moving in a smarter direction, and I couldn't see it not working out in the long run.
Well, I also like, just to kind of look back, you had mentioned that, the regulations that we see coming out are more along the lines of incorporating Bitcoin rather than banning Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so fun because I don't follow the news a whole lot. I should probably start paying attention a little bit. But one question that I did have, and maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't, is Bitcoin and the profits found therein, is that something that the IRS can jam you up over yet, or is that still kind of off the table for them?
Yeah, even if they can't yet, which they mostly can. Like I said, it's not anonymous. So don't wait around and find out. They will come for you eventually. And there's already ways you can pay your taxes on it. I mean, some people want to go, like I said, there's the privacy tokens. Take your own risks. All right. If you want to, if you think taxation's theft and you want to do that, that's your own choice. I personally would like to keep the money I'm making. So I'm not going to give them any excuse to come take it. And yeah, I whatever. If they want to regulate it and take their little percentage, because that's what they want. Like they're not going to regulate it away. They know they can't get rid of it, so they're like, okay, we can't get rid of this. I mean, it's just like marijuana right now. They're like, this isn't going anywhere. How can we just get a piece of the pie? So yeah, and I mean they got a piece of the pie, dude, because they've arrested some people in the earlier days with like large sums. The government's got a lot of Bitcoin. Like I mean, they use it just like they would seize any other drugs. I don't know. I was going to make the joke of, like the whole Iran Contra thing, maybe sometimes they sell the drugs. They might like to invest the Bitcoin. Maybe they're thinking about that.
That's without a doubt, man. One of the things that kind of like is always sad to hear about, you hear about some guy and like back in 2010 had a hard drive and had to accumulate because Bitcoin was like, 10 cents back in the day. Mm-hmm. He had like 40 Bitcoin on it. He's like, yeah, I threw that hard drive away. It's gone. It's in some landfill somewhere. It's like, fuck,
That is some people's biggest worry about this stuff because it's, it could just, it's nothing like with the NFTs, it's gone. You're not holding anything. That's a big worry for a lot of people. And that's where you get a lot of like, even the people who like great on economics and stuff, like say a Peter Schiff type. Peter Schiff hates crypto because he sells gold, but he like gold and silver does have an argument for it's something physical, but
right.
I think both are good. I think they serve different purposes, and I don't think just because I know gold would be physical and stand around. I mean, I'd like to get my hands on some of it, but I think this crypto shows a lot of promise, and totally sidetracked there. What I was talking about was losing your Bitcoin, and you could do that. You could throw out a hard drive if you had it stored on there. You avoid that problem if you have it on the exchanges, but you also open yourself up to say there was some big attack on that exchange. They could lose a ton of crypto. And if it's enough, I mean, it tends to be in these hacks. Like if I hear about anything happening, it doesn't seem like it's like a mass thing. Like some of the times it's like they're just able to access a certain amount of accounts or something. Like, that's one of the risks of having it. The risk of having it yourself is you need to have it. You need to have it. You can't throw it out and send it to a dump. But,
right.
One of the safest ways to avoid all that, though, is you can get a cold wallet where it's stored on a device, which don't throw that out either. You need that thing. But say something happened to the device, you can also file away a, I believe, 24-word password, which nothing's ever going to be able to guess. That's like such an intense password. You take that, file that away, and I believe there's a way you can contact the company and are able to get access to your funds that way. So you can secure it, and then that's unhackable because essentially that thing's a kill switch, or some of them work differently. There's like hot wallets, cold wallets, and I believe that's just about being connected to the internet. Like, so the cold wallets, it's saved on there. You have the file. There's your Bitcoin. No internet connectivity. It's just a little flash drive, and you lock it in a box. And the only way you can access it, you plug it into your computer, go through the app, and then you can access your stuff. So
I gotcha. Okay.
it makes it a little more safe. I know that's one people's worries. It's going to get stolen. Well, your information could also lead to your bank account getting hacked too. There's ways to prevent this. And right now it's a little more in its infancy. So you hear the stories of it happening to people who don't know how to properly do it. And there's a couple more steps than just keeping your money in a bank that's insured. There's more issues to it. But I think as we go forward, these exchanges will probably get insured. You'll probably see things like that to where it's just more secure and it doesn't really have to be a worry of yours in the future, any more worried than you are about your credit card getting stolen. It can happen, but.
Right. You got to look at, a lot of people are stupid, right? And my wife works at a bank. She's a branch manager, bro. Like, it seems like at least once a month, there's some poor widowed woman coming through. She just got the Nigerian prince scam and she fell for it. Like she called me the other day, man. Some lady is out like $30,000 just cash. She bought these prepaid Visa cards and just gave them. It's like, what the fuck, dude? So yeah, I can imagine that there's probably some scams and people will fall for it, especially since this, like you said, is in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
But as time goes along, I'm sure that security is just going to get better
and also more secure, but also simpler. Like there's already things coming out where you can set it up so you can use essentially like a bank on some of these exchanges. You can get a card and you can just swipe it like debit, spend your Bitcoin just as like regular cash. So more and more things come out like that. It's just going to become more normal, and it's not going to seem as complicated. It's going to seem just as you watch where they switch from the strip to the chip on the credit cards, and everyone lost their mind. So it's always going to take some adjustment, and I guess some people do need a little more coaching up than others, but it's getting easier.
Yeah. Remember the aluminum wallets, the clamshell aluminum wallets. Yeah, I remember that being the big thing when those chips started coming out. Like, as everybody's walking around with RFID readers, man, you're going to get your bank account stolen.
Yeah. And I don't think I saw too much of that happen. I don't know. I think the one time I got identity theft happened to me, I believe it was because I use this gas station a lot near my house, and apparently there's something you can sit in a car and you can catch that transmission between the pump and the place. I think that's what happened to me. Forget where I came to that conclusion. I feel like my bank pointed me in that direction. Which, it was a convenient thing for a bank to do. They're like, we didn't lose it. You're at a gas station. You were at a gas station.
Fucking victim blaming, man.
But even then, that's insured. People know, a lot of the time they're getting their money back. It depends on the scenario you're in. Like, I know one of my buddies, they were just taking like $5 at a time for a long time. Didn't notice it.
Oh, shit. Yeah, dude, that's flying under the radar for real.
Yeah, it ended up being like $1,500 by the end of it. But yeah, you take it out slow. Speaking of which, actually, this is a side story. There's some guy right now who just got caught in an Amazon scam. He's just been buying products, and he'd buy a brand new Mac and then return like an old Mac and like just keep the profit difference. He did it like 300 times, and now he's like really screwed. But because Amazon does not care. Like, their policy is just like, just take the L and just let it happen. And when somebody becomes a problem, like that guy, then expose him and show everyone what will happen.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're gonna be talking that on the podcast this weekend though. But that's funny. That dude, that's too deep, man. 300 times, dude. He made
it's over. It's a wrap. You're done. Like you're going away for a minute.
I think he had like 200K by the end of it, a little more.
Jesus Christ, dude.
He did it over like a short time, dude. These scams, man. People out here scamming.
You gotta play it cool, and you gotta know when to dip out, too much of a good thing. But I think that's the way that you kind of get away with something, and you find an exploit and then you just beat it until the wheels fall off.
My guy really screwed up though. My bank called immediately. They're like, "Sir, someone went to a hardware store. We know that's not your ass." Like, yeah,
funny.
it was in New York, and I was in Arizona at the time, so that it did add up. But
Yeah.
I took it more as an insult. But
shit, man.
uh,
Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out and just talking to me about crypto a little bit. I'm going to get back into it. Like I said, man, like hopefully there's somebody out there that hears it, that needs to hear it. But when I make podcasts, when I do these interviews, I do it because I want to hear about it, and you kind of explained it better for me. I think I'm going to do, I really like the idea, as I've said a few times, the $5 to $15, like that's something that's tangible that I can work towards. And what the fuck am I losing out on? Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I had a buddy who he was like always like, kind of like more the negative to it. We were talking about, he's like, I don't have money for that. I don't blah, blah, blah. And like at the same time, I'm like, it's an extra pack of cigarettes. That's a coffee, just cut back like a couple of things a week. And, it's a few bucks. And he got in right before the boom. And he just started making like silly cash, like off of a little bit. And he got more into it, like the analytics than me, like all of a sudden, because he's like a big D&D like numbers guy or whatever. So he, yeah, not like science numbers, like D&D numbers, but he's able to predict it, and he turned it into a bunch of thing. And he's a little capitalism bad a little bit, and he's like, I swear if I get rich off this, I hate you.
Look who's the capitalist now.
Yes, I was making jokes with my brother. I'm like, watch, but he's gonna get richer than all of us, and just still rail on about how stupid it is. He's like, it is stupid. This is like just sticking numbers in and numbers out, and I'm getting rich. I'm like, well, it's not impossible,
Oh shit, man.
But really, just cut a couple of things out. I mean, you know what? In your lane, I mean, I know what I'm cutting out. I mean, I'm probably spending $10 a day on drinks. And I don't need to be doing that. I could stick $10 in every day if I just stop doing that one silly little habit that's really not benefiting me. So yeah, I mean, just think of it like that. I mean, that's a good way to, even go about it. Think about every single day that you're sober from whatever your old habit was. Think about what you used to spend. And if you can handle still doing that, because you maintain that lifestyle, stick it in, make that money, turn it into more.
Well, like Dave Ramsey talks about, I did one of his little things. He's got, what is that? Financial Peace University. And it's a great course. I enjoy, but I mean, he talks about like that debt snowball, and like, while you have X amount of money going out, as soon as you pay off, one debt, then you don't just have that extra money. Now you apply that money you were spending on that one debt and apply it to the others.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily take that same principle and do it with investing, and kind of, move around some stuff. If you pay off a debt somewhere, then you take that amount and you put it into an investment. That would make more sense to me than, some of the other ways that I spend the money. So,
yeah. Like, I mean, I was down pretty hard at the beginning of the pandemic. Right when they shut everything down, there was that huge crash.
Yeah.
I had like 500 in my account, and without touching it, just leave it alone I forget when I started investing again later, but I watched that 500 turn into 7,500 on its own, like within the course of a year. Like,
damn, dude,
you can get that's not a significant amount of money. Like, overall, I think I've invested like $3,000, and at its peak, it was 14. And it's like, I mean, $3,000's not nothing, but after seeing 500 turn into 7,500, you're going to be like, yeah, it's
dude,
pennies on the dollar. Like, let's get in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at that point, knowing my mentality, it's going to be hard not to start like throwing in more than I need to in it. Cause it's like you said, it's like you pull the slot machine handle and you hit the jackpot, you're not going to do that every time.
Yeah. So, sober community, know yourself. Okay. There is a gambling addiction aspect to this if you let it happen.
Yeah. And that's what happened with the Dogecoin thing. Like, it literally, man, like a week after I got in at that very low rate, it jumped up to 7 cents. I cashed out, thought I was fucking Mr. Whoever, and I got into Monero, XRP. I got into a few others, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And then the bottom fell out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm out money now. This is real. I didn't make any profit. Okay, I'm done with this. Fuck crypto.
I actually say you didn't make any profit, but really, in a lot of these things, not every coin's the same, but a lot of the ones that are legitimate, You never have to take a loss because, like I said, over the next 25 years, you decide when you pull it out. I think it's going to keep going up over the next 25 years. So if it's down, you're deciding if you take the loss. You just wait. Wait. You don't have to take any losses in this game. You can just sit there and let that number ride, and it can go back up at any point in time, and it most likely will, depending on the coin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, hey, Thom, how can people find you? Where can they find you at?
You can find Trash Talks and Winner Gets Nothing at the Winner Gets Nothing podcast. You can look it up on all your podcatchers. Let me get this right because I just changed my Twitter handle. Actually, it's at Winner Gets No Pod. I'm active on there. We also have a Twitter. My co-host is active on there. Very different feeds. Yeah, just hit me up on Twitter if you for anything, and then check out the pod. That's it.
And I will just give the Clean Libertarian endorsement. It is a worthwhile follow on the old Bird app, Twitter sphere, what have you. But thanks a lot, brother, for coming on and chatting with me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. All right, there it is. Thanks a lot again to Thom for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's just a fun conversation. Like I was talking to Thom afterwards, man, these episodes are more or less, designed around what I want to hear, what I want to talk about. And, the hope is that somebody out there enjoys the conversation as well. And while a lot of my episodes center around recovery, and as it should be, that's the core of my life. Crypto was one of those things I really wanted to kind of circle back around to and get a little bit further into. And that's what we did. So going forward, I'm going to be, investing a little bit, not much, $5 to $10, see where it takes me. And if nothing else, man, it'll be kind of cool to have that. I would like to see, the 12-step recovery community. Guys, if you are in a meeting, go to the next group conscience, talk about getting one of those square cards for the phone, for the person chairing the meeting, something. Can we do something in the recovery community about not having a space for anything but folding money? Like, I don't always have the opportunity to go to an ATM. I don't always have the opportunity to have cash on me. I forget. And I always feel like a sack of shit for walking in with the Starbucks and not putting $1 in the basket. So, if we could rectify that as a community, man, that would be great. So, anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Absolutely go follow Thom. I will have the links to his, Twitter and the podcast in the show notes of this. But he's a worthwhile follow. Super cool guy. Great to talk to. And that is it, guys. And today's song of the day, I have not featured this group on here before, but this is the Bridge City Sinners. And this song is called Witch's Wrath. And it's that folky kind of, sound to it. Sounds awesome. You guys know my jam. You know my style. And so with that, here is Witch's Wrath by Bridge City Sinners.
She's over us, she's every little thing we about you. And they say that God's the one that judges us, not ashamed of the things I do.